First, I will give some insight. What are the parties or involved in a UPI transaction? To give a complete overview of a UPI, so you have a better understanding of the UPI ecosystem. What are the various parties are involved in a UPI? And I will give a couple of use cases, how the complete transaction flow. So you'll get a good understanding of the UPI. First, some overview. UPI is nothing but unified payment interface. UPI was primarily started in 2016. It is nothing but a simple, easiest payment system through which you can transfer from person to person or person to merchant. See, what is the big advantage of UPI? It is very simple. You don't need to know the account number and IFC to transfer a amount. You need to just know their mobile number or their unique UPI ID. That is enough. You can instantly transfer a amount. You can use any app. Any app. There are multiple payment service providers like Paytm is there, Google is there. You can use them and make the payment. That is the big advantage UPI has. It is very easy to, and another very big advantage for UPI is there is no charge for the you make using UPI. That is the Indian government regulation. You must not take any service charge for payment or transaction happening to UPI. That is the big advantage the UPI ecosystem has. That has led to the popularity of the UPI. I have shown two graphs. First graph, I have shown the growth of the UPI. From 2017 to 2001, see the growth of the UPI. It almost grew 8,000%. That is the tremendous growth of UPI. This shows how rapid the UPI growth and how it has digitalized the government's vision. That is the growth of UPI. And the other graph shows who are the major player in the UPI. PhonePe and Google almost have the 90% of the sales in the UPI environment. This is a simple and small overview of what UPI does and what is the market of UPI and what is the growth of the UPI.
Shivam, if you can explain the background about what was the problem before UPI and how it was solved with UPI. Before UPI, only option was to transfer funds instantly was net banking, right? So you use net banking, but the problem with net banking is available for only few people. Very few users used to have net banking, right? With UPI now, every shop in any village or any area, you will find now people are using UPI. So UPI was a payment solution which made her very easy. Correct. So earlier Paytm was there, other technology was there, but I think this is a standard interface which has revolutionized the payments, and now it is used by millions and billions of users.
Thanks for the information. You in UPI system now there are multiple parties or entities here. Or on broad level, no, there are 5 parties. I'll give it an example. I want to transfer a amount of 1,000 to Tarun. Okay. See, I am transferring from GPay, PhonePe account. Okay. So in GPay, I opened a GPay and I had linked my Axis Bank account to my GPay. It is not but the virtual payment address, a unique address which we will create in any PSP. PSP is payment service provider like GPay, Paytm, PhonePe, all are payment service provider who give UPI service to the customer. So whenever you register to this particular PSP, you will get a unique address. Okay. I open the GPay app. I enter Tarun's GPay. Here, GPay will act as a payer PSP because I am going to pay to Tarun. So and P will act as the payee PSP. Okay. Since I have linked Axis account to my GPay, Axis account became remitter bank. So Tarun has linked his bank account. So HDFC bank account becomes the beneficiary account. These are the four various party. Along with the fifth party will be the centralized UPI system, which is managed payment corporation of. This is the centralized system, which acts as the mediator. Okay, these are the five parties. The parties are payer PSP from the app which the payment is going to happen, payee PSP to the app to which the payment is done, and the banks, remitter bank from the bank which the debit is going to happen, beneficiary bank, the bank to which the credit is. These are the various parties are involved in this thing. I will show with some use case. Okay, the first use case what I am going to show is the send money use case, where I want to send a money to Tarun. So I'll open the Google Pay app and enters Tarun's VPA, the unique ID. Basically, his phone number at YBL
Yes.
is the handle.
Yes. So Shivam,
Okay.
one more query I have is, if I want my app to support UPI, for example, Google Pay uses UPI. So how
Yeah.
can I onboard an app to use UPI?
Okay. Oh, see, Tarun, there are multiple things. See, normally this phone pay, UPI, all the things, no?
Yes.
Once you have downloaded and once you have linked your bank account, no, they automatically enable the UPI feature for you.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
this is the process generally. See, normal, no, for example, when you NPC have their own Beam application,
Yeah.
okay, UPI enable. In that, what you have to do, for example, first you are downloading the. So first, see, normally what it will ask, it will automatically select the SIM in your phone
Yeah.
once you download. If you have two SIMs, it will ask you to select the SIM whose mobile number is linked to your bank accounts.
Yes.
Okay, that is the first use case of first requirement. You
Yes.
have to select a SIM whose phone number is linked to your bank.
Yes.
Once you select the particular SIM, behind what it does, the particular app, the PSP, sends the phone number to NPCI.
Yes.
Okay, to get the bank and the account linked to this particular phone number
Okay.
behind. So NPCI, what it does, based on your phone number, it goes to its database and fetch all the bank and account number linked to your particular phone number
Yeah.
and returns back to your PSP app, like
Okay.
BMAP, for example.
Yes.
Once it returns back, then you have to link a particular account to the particular VPA. It will automatically generate a VPA. Basically, the VPA will be your mobile number at the particular handle. Each
Okay.
app
Okay.
will have its own handle. For example, this say beam handle will be at UPI.
Yes.
Okay. In the case of GPay, there are four handles. We see this other thing.
Yeah.
In the case of PhonePe, it is YBL. Okay, each app will have a unique handle that will be added to your phone number. Basically, this is the primary thing. Once it is added, then what it asks you to create a secure UPI PIN. For
Okay.
that, what it you require, you have to give your debit card details.
Okay.
Once it is completed, you are registered to UPI.
Okay. Okay.
This is the general process. Certain, for example, Beam does this process. Google Pay only asks you to link the account and create the UPI. No, it doesn't ask you to create the UPI ID because it takes the ID from NPCI because already you have created for
Yes.
the particular UPI. Okay, this is the general process.
Okay. Okay.
Team, anyone has any other doubt or shall I proceed? See, this is the send flow where a person is sending a money. For example, here I am sending a money 1,000 to Tarun. So what I'll enter Tarun's VPA, basically his PhonePe VPA. Then Once enter VPA, what the PSP does for the pair VPA is nothing but what it does. Since I am first time entering Tarun's VPA, it check whether it is a valid VPA or not. So what the GPA does, it sends the VPA to NPCI based on the handle the particular VPA has. For example, it has YBL. It sends the VPA details to PhonePe, asking PhonePe to check whether it is a valid VPA or not. Checks, the PhonePe is nothing but the checks that and confirms back to NPCI telling that okay, confirm back to GPay that it is a valid VPA. Once it is done, once I enter the amount details everything, then what the GPay does, it fits my account detail because it has the my account details linked to the VPA. For example, my Axis account detail GPay has. So it fetches that and it sends my account detail, the VPA to which it has to be credited to NPCI. That is the loan number 5, RegPay. It makes a call to NPCI called RegPay, where it sends my account details, the amount that has to be credited, and whom to have to pay. Now, what it does, this RegPay does, it makes a call to PSP telling to get the account detail to which the credit has to happen, because NPCI has only the VPA details. It does not have the account details of Tarun to which the credit has to happen. So it makes a call to PhonePe, which is here as a pay POS, telling this is the VPA, provide the account details corresponding to this VPA. That is the call 6 happens. So PayPP checks the VPA. Based on the VPA, it returns back the account details. Once NPCI has the account details to which the credit has to happen, then it sends the debit request to the remitter bank, which is an Axis bank. It provides the account and IFC detail along with the amount to the remitter bank, debits and provide a success response to NPCI. Then what MP says is, then once it receives a success debit request from the remitter bank, then it makes credit request to beneficiary bank. That is the flow number 8. Once the credit is done successfully, then it responds both to payer PSP and the pay PSP telling that the transaction has been completed. That is what the flow 9 and 10 is all nothing but the response back to corresponding PSP telling that the payment has been successful. Once PSP get a confirmation from NPC, it sends a notification to the app telling your payment has been done successfully. This is the overall high-level flow of the segment or team. You got the overall flow, team?
Yeah, I think everyone understood, very well explained with the diagram. One more point I want to add and ask the viewers to also look for is there is something called PayPal, right? Do you know PayPal, Shivam? Has anyone used PayPal?
PayPal is nothing like a broker. See, whenever we want to make a payment through credit or debit,
Yes.
there'll be some mediator or a centralized system.
Correct. Yes, so it's
PayPal.
PayPal is similar. UPI is definitely now much bigger, but PayPal was the first such system. Is there any similarity or what are the key differences?
Okay. Oh, see, for my PayPal is something similar to CC Avenue, which is in India. That is what my understanding.
Okay. What is this?
PayPal
What is CCI money?
CC Avenue, where we used to make whenever we want to make, for example, like whenever I go to IRCTC and book a train ticket, I want to make a payment. No, there will be a centralized service provider like CC Avenue, where I can make a payment to any means like debit card or credit card.
Absolutely. Got it. So
PayPal is somewhat similar to that. That is what my
there are so many wallets, right? So yeah, wallets. What are the online wallets? And how is it different from this UPI? Probably if you can explain, that would also be very helpful.
Okay. The first and foremost thing, oh, sorry. See, first thing, you don't need to know, have any accounting. Okay. You need to only understand only if, for example, if I want to transfer amount to Tarun, either I need to know only his phone number. Okay. Or his unique UPI ID. I don't need to have know his account number or IFC detail or bank details. Nothing I need to know. Okay, and it is very instant. Once you register, no, immediately you can. Once you add him as a payee, you can make a immediate transfer of amount of to a limit of 5,000 in the first day. That is a limit. For example, when I add Tarun today, today I can make a transfer of 5,000 to a max. That we can make. That is one big advantage. That is instant and very fast we can make. And second, one more advantage, you have other features like QR code scanning is there. That has revolutionized UPI bit, because now, whenever I go outside, instead of taking my wallet, I'm taking only my phone to make the payment. If I go to the cart wala, or if I go to a street vendor, everyone are having QR code in their cart. So I can easily make a payment using QR code. These are all the things which has revolutionized UPI.
Great. Yes.
Tarun?
Perfect. Go
See,
ahead.
basically, you don't need to remember anything, Tarun. It is simple. You need to know only the phone number or other number also you can know, which is normally phone number will easily rectify it.
Yes, yes. So VPA you mentioned, so that's also
See,
important
normally
because
VPA is nothing but, for example, in Beam, I have my phone number at UPA as my VPA. Because
okay,
each app has its link to a particular or a set of unique VPAs.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
See, when I use NPC Beam, my VPA will be my phone number and the handle will be at UPA. But in case of when I use GPay, my VPA will be the same phone number, but the handle will be KHDFC.
Yes,
See, what is the? I will tell what is difference in GPay. See, this GPay, Paytm, PhonePe cannot be, has to come through some sponsor bank in
yes,
UPA. So GPay has 4 sponsor bank. Okay, one is SBI, Axis Bank, ICIC, and HDFC. That is why you see, OK HDFC, OK SBI. These
yes.
are the handles given by GPay based on the bank to which it is linked to it.
Okay.
Similarly, PhonePe, they had Yes Bank as their sponsor bank. So the VPI will be at YBN. So your phone number will be same, only the handle will be changing based on the app which you are registered with. So you will
Okay.
easily remember it.
Yeah, great. So once
See,
you give this number, say, no, you give tarun.telang at okay HDFC Bank. So
yeah,
assume this is GPay who is trying to send money to this address.
yeah.
So GPay do not know what this maps to which account, right? To which person. But
Yeah, GPA does not need to know only.
yes,
Okay, GPA knows. That is why first it what does, it sends the request to NPCI, telling that, see, first time I am registering you. Okay, so what it does, the normally when you enter any phone number, there will be a verify button nearby. So you can verify it basically whether it is
yes,
a valid VPA or not.
yes,
Once you tap that, what the particular app does, it sends the VPA. So NPC internally knows what are the various app registered with it and their corresponding handle it has.
okay,
Okay. So based on the handle, it knows it belongs to PhonePe. So it sends the VPA to PhonePe and asking whether it is a valid VPA or not. Okay. Then
yes,
PhonePe checks internally and confirms back to NPCI. Yeah, it is a valid VPA. It tells that. So
yes,
NPCI gets the response from PhonePe and sends the response back to GPay. Then GPay decide what to do. Yes, it is a valid VPA. Then it allows us to enter the amount or to use the VPA.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Sure.
So once we get a value, then we will enter the amount. Okay, once we enter the amount, then we have to enter the unique PIN, UPI PIN, which we have created, because the amount is going to debit, no? So
Yes.
the app authenticates whether I am the right user of the app. So it asks us to enter the UPI PIN.
Okay.
Okay, once you enter the PIN, then the fifth leg will happen. The from number 5 will start happening.
Okay.
Okay. Have any clarification or you have a better understanding of the flow now? Okay. So here I am in this slide now. I am talking about one more flow. Previous one was send flow. Here collect flow, where I am requesting 1,000 rupees from. Okay. Previously I was sending 1,000 rupees to Tarun. Here I am requesting the amount of 1,000 from. So GPay will be a pay will be. So once I enter 1,000 rupees, when the fifth leg comes, when the record details come to the payer PSP, what the PhonePe does, it sent a notification to telling that requesting 1,000 rupees value. So please authorize the request. That is why the rec approval is required. So once the approves that, then only the debit and credit will happen. Okay. Without the approval of the payee, the correct flow does not happen. That is the only additional thing happening in the correct flow team here. Rest all same like the send money only. All the APIs, everything same. Only one thing is our approval flow is additionally. Team, you got an understanding here?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. See, next we will go to the high level design. Okay, this I have created based on my understanding. Okay. I am giving you this diagram based on where the centralized system, NPC UPI ecosystem is there. Okay. See, here, to before that, what I'll tell you, all the parties, both the PSPs, banks, everyone who are engaged in UPI ecosystem, or having a direct connectivity with NPC. For example, UPI application will have a direct link with NPC. Okay, it is okay. So all the parties will have a direct link to team. You got understanding on that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is not like an internet thing. All are connected directly to NPC using MPLS also. Any link, direct link. Okay, this is the thing. So for example, now when a request from GPay, Google Pay comes to the after passing to the router, firewall, everything, the first thing it hit is the LB. That is the blue one, the top one. Okay. Okay. See, for high availability, I am having two. One is the active LB and one is the passive. So the active LB fails, automatically the passive LB HLD will come up and do the load balancing here. Okay, this is one thing. Here I am proposing the use of hardware load balancer because the volume is very high. Because almost 6 months before, UPA was the UPA was processing almost 20 to 30 crore transactions per day. So the volume is very high. So instead of going for software load balancer, I am proposing of using hardware load balancer. And this LB also does the SSL offloading. So why I am proposing SSL offloading in here is the first advantage is, see, the APIs that are involved in UPI, or there are multiple APIs or multiple use cases are involved in UPI. Like financial transaction is there, non-financial transaction is there, mandate transaction is there. So I need to understand what kind of request has come first. So I have to do SSL offloading, check what kind of request has come, and based on the type, I have to forward the request to the corresponding application server. Okay, that is why SSL offloading is there. This is one purpose. That is why if you see the second row, you have all the application server, but they are grouped based on their functionality. The first group is called financial, which cater or which process only the request related to finance. The second group will process all the requests related to non-financial transaction. The third one or group of apps which process requests to related to mandate. These are the things. So based on the category, the transaction will flow to the corresponding apps. Second thing, I will also make a stickiness in my HLD. Stickiness, for stickiness, I use the transaction ID coming in the request to maintain the stickiness. See why I want to make a stickiness. As I shown in my first diagram, no, there are four parties are involved: PSP, payee, PSP, remitter, and beneficiary bank. Okay, that transaction, for one transaction to get completed, no, all the four parties gets involved. So whenever a transaction first comes and it goes to a particular server called app1, the substitution, the further leg of the transaction also I have to direct to the same server for a fast response. That is why I will maintain a stickiness in the HL. Team, you have an understanding here what I mean by stickiness here?
So stickiness is about having this information about the history.
Okay, for example, I am getting a transaction called A.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It is coming from the payer PSP.
Yes.
A transaction A. And my active, the HLE has decided it is a financial transaction. And it is routing to a app server called 1. Assume that.
Yes.
So what app server 1 does? It sends to the payee PSP. Okay.
Yeah.
It knows based on the handle, it forwards that to the payee PSP. Payee PSP will process the transaction and sends the response back to the LB.
Yes.
So LB, what it fetch the transaction ID, I know that this transaction was processed by app1. So again, it sends the request to app1 instead of other app server. Like this, the complete leg of the particular transaction will force to the particular app server.
Yeah.
Okay. For this, the stickiness is maintained here.
Okay. Okay. So is that mean that if I make subsequent requests, it will go through the same server?
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
So first HLD is then the app server. The app server are completely horizontal scalable. For example, for financial, since financial volume is more, I will have 10 app servers, and non-financial, the number of transactions low, I will have only 3. Based on the volume, I will scale up the group of server, everything. Okay, I will write the algorithm in a list connection where the server which has the read connection, that to that the request will be sent. Whenever a new request comes, no, it checks which app server has the read connection to which the particular transaction go. Like this, what any algorithm I can implement it. And one more important thing, since normally, these are financial transactions, where the transaction has to be very fast. And in the case of UPI, there are 4 parties are involved. Okay, to speed up it, instead of using the on disk database, I am using in-memory database, Redis cluster. Whenever a transaction comes, app saves the data in Redis cluster, not in the on disk database like Cassandra. It saves in the in-memory to fastly process the data. Okay, in this way, I can reduce IO to IO processing thing since it is a in-memory database. Okay, to make the transaction very fast. Okay, that is why I use Redis cursor. Also, I use a Redis cursor. For example, I will have 3 nodes, and in each, I will run 2 Redis process. One as the master and one as the slave. So to achieve high availability, I will use this. To have the control of this Redis, I will use Sentinel also. Okay, this is the DB I will be using here. The second thing, once the transaction, all the legs of the transaction is completed, the app push the transaction detail to a event stream message streaming system called Kafka. Okay, It is nothing like a message queue. It pushes the transaction to this message queue. Why I am using message queue is first thing I need this data for multiple other systems. Like the settlement system is there, reporting system is there, external system. For the system, we need to provide the delay time data of the transaction to this various system. So I will use a message queuing system. And from the same message queuing system also, I will use a processor to pull the data and push to the on disk DB like Cassandra for my further use. Okay, that is the last part. DB process and Cassandra. This is the overall high level. Like
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this is the high level thorough. Okay, you want to dive into anything here?
Yeah,
No?
maybe if you can share about the system architecture, about what are various systems involved, as you also mentioned verbally. Do you have a slide on system architecture where you
Oh no,
show?
I prepare. This is my last slide in this thing.
Okay, okay. And yes, maybe if you can verbally talk about that, how actually, from how many systems the request is served.
Okay,
So, what are different kinds of databases used? What are different
okay,
kinds of systems used, and their role, and why they were chosen for technical
okay.
reasons?
I will explain that with the example.
Sure.
Okay. See, first, let us take the use case where GPay is sending a request to first from GPay a request comes and land on the active LB. What active LB does, it does the SS of offloading. Does it first checks two things. Okay. First, it checks the transaction ID and what type of request it is, whether it is a financial, non-financial, and non. Okay. Okay, let us consider it is a financial tax. It got two things. It is a financial transaction. Next, it got a transaction. Then it check in its local whether this transaction ID has been already. It check it six stick in a table whether already this transaction ID is available or not. If the transaction ID is not there in its memory, then it know it is a new request. So then, based on its algorithm, for example, here I am implementing the least connection algorithm. It identify a apps server to which it need to send the request to process. So what among these four, let us say it identify app one server. So it sends the request to app one server. Okay. So app one server receive the request from active from the load balancer. So until this you are
Yes.
okay. So active one what it does first no internet what it does first it check whether this request is has for it checks whether the request is according to their schema or not or the validation it does. Once the validation it does, then it decides what is the next course of action. For example, no, the next course of action is to send to pay PSP to get the account here. Then it decides. Then it updates from the DB, no, it from the Redis DB, it gets to which pay PSP it has to send. For example, the IP details of the pay PSP it gets. Okay, to which it need to set them. Okay. So it gets the details from the cluster and it will save the status in the Redis clusters telling it is in the PSP leg in the Redis cluster. Okay. Once it's saved, it sends a request to the PSP. Okay. Then the PSP in the backend does the process. And once it gets the account details of Thorough, it sends a request to NPC with the account detail. Again, the request falls on the active HC, on the transaction ID. It's the transaction ID and see whether the transaction ID is already present or not. Since it is already present, it will send the request back to app1 sir. Okay, now app1 process the detail. Okay, so it currently has the account detail of remitter bank. Now it has the account detail of the beneficiary detail. Okay, it's saved both in the Redis cluster account against the transaction ID. Okay, this is the debit account detail for transaction ID 1. This is the credit detail account against the transaction ID 1. So now do the debit line. It fetch the Axis Bank remitter account details. Sorry, Axis Bank remitter bank's connection details and sends the debit request to Axis Bank. Axis can process, send the request back to NPCI. NPCI again forward the transaction to App 1. Now App 1 fetch the credit account detail from the Redis cluster and sends the request to beneficiary bank. Beneficiary bank processes the details and sends the success response to NPCI. Now what the App 1 does, since the whole transaction is success, it sends response both to payer PSP and confirmation. The whole transaction is complete. Next, what app, it will update the status to completed in the Redis cluster, telling that the transaction has been completed, and update the transaction topic in the. There are four topics will be there. One DB topic, one settlement topic, one reporting topic, one analytic topics, various topics. There will be multiple other topics also. For now, let us discuss. Four topics. It updates the transaction status in all these topics. Okay, now what the DB processor does, it pulls the data on for every 1 minute, it keeps on pushing the data to the custom.db. This app server. Instead of, it does the batch processing basically. Instead of pushing the data, once the incoming data comes, instead of pushing them immediately to the custom.db, it does the batch processing. Because the transaction is already completed, only we are saving the data for our future reference. So then it does the batch processing and push the data keeping on custom. Here, why we are using the custom is for high availability only. Because we can use any SQL, any database, but because our priority is high availability and high scaling, for that we are going with custom.db. This is the complete flow and the various system involved there.
One question I have. Hi. What is the frequency of batch processing? What is the frequency?
See, here we can set, here I am setting it as 1 minute. Hello?
Okay. Can you also mention about how security is handled in all this? Like where all security?
See, the first thing, that is a very good question. First thing, it is not a internet-facing app. Okay, all the system which are communicating with the system, connect or link to MPLS link from their data center to NPCA data center or to the particular system data center. So only the traffic can flow from one endpoint to another endpoint. Okay, this is one thing. And second thing, before this LB, we will have WAF and all. Okay, where WAF will check from where the request is coming. Whether, see, in each of these requests, there will be a unique ID mentioning from where the request is coming. That all the details the WAF will send. You got it?
Yes, okay. But who will resource it? On whose server or will it?
No, resource it means I couldn't get it.
Then where will the WAF be? So let's say under UPI.
This will be okay. For example, this is in your data center. Or see, normal, whenever your request comes, it don't comes directly to HL. It comes to the entry point of the data center called router, which is that. Between the switch and this, there can be a WAF. Okay, the switch will forward the request to WAF. When the WAF or firewall process the request, once it is a valid request, then it further process to the load balancer. Otherwise, it will decline with the appropriate error code. Yeah, you have any questions, Tarun?
No further questions. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing this flow about the UPI and also sharing in detail how the payment is processed. So we covered two use cases here. One was sending a payment, other one is sending a payment request. Great. Yeah. Anyone else has any further questions? Because you have this diagram which is currently presented in the screen.
Yeah.
This is what I was asking for, that if you can go through that in 5 minutes, that will also give good insight. So your screen is not shared. Yeah. Yes. The slide number 6.
So before
Yeah, so in the slide number 6,
send this,
next to next,
next only I have.
6, this one.
This is the one thing. This is the diagram.
Yes, yes. This one, if you can explain, that is great. That would be great.
Oh, this only I had explained. No? First, the first entry point of the switch will be application will be load balancer.
Yeah.
Okay, load balancer basically we have two load balancer to have high availability here. Okay, one will be active at every time. If the active one fails, then the passive will take over. Okay,
Great.
normally
Great.
they're all you can have either software load balancer or hardware load balancer.
Yes.
I will go with hardware load balancer because of the fastness. Okay, because they are specially made for this thing because they are expert in that. So I will go because the transaction volume is huge and lot of customization we can do it.
Yes.
For the purpose, I will go with hardware load. Okay. See, then next layer will be the application layer. In application layer, no, I will group the server based on their use cases. Because broadly, no, these UPI use cases can be bucketed into three things. One is financial, second one is non-financial, and the third one is mandate. So I'll give the servers as financial, non-financial, and mandate. Based on the type of request, the load balancer forwards the request to the particular group of server, any server in the particular group. That is why I show three groups here.
Yes.
Is that understandable? Okay.
And give example of non-finance and mandate use case.
Okay, I can give it. See, one of the example is when you want to verify the VPA. Okay, when I entering a VPA of the first thing NPCI does it need to verify the VPA. No, such things are non-financial API. And for example, whenever you use a newly registering, he needs the account linked to the particular mobile number. That all come under non-financial thing. Financial is nothing but the debit, credit, and the sent and collect. No, these are financial. Non-financial is like this thing. When the VPA want to verify, when you want to get the list of account, list of banks, this all comes under non-financial. Mandate is nothing bad. For example, now IPOs are happening. Okay, recently LIC IPO all happened. Where one type of user can make. There are various payment modes on that. One of the payment mode is UPI, where the sponsor bank customer can make the payment using the UPI. In such cases, the amount has to get blocked for a particular period until the allotted. So in such case, the mandate use case will come.
Okay. Great, clear, perfect.
These are the apps. The second, one more thing what we will do is, instead of storing the data in on-disk based DB, I am using in-memory database here, Redis. Why no? Since parties for a transaction to get completed, it has to communicate with multiple parties, 4 parties, So I am using Redis here for fast. That is why all the data will be first stored in Redis instead of going to any on-disk DB. Okay, so the response will be fast for each leg. That is why we discussed. Once the transaction is completed, then the data will be pushed to Cassandra, to Kafka.
Okay. And what are on the right side? You have settlement system, reporting systems.
Settlement reporting system, analytics system.
Yeah, these are other services, servers, microservices. What exactly they are?
No, these are all external system. There will be a separate system only.
Okay.
So which takes the data from the UPI, the transaction data basically.
Okay. And what are DB processors?
See, DB process meaning once the transaction is completed,
Okay.
If it's pushed to the topic, from the topic, this processor pulls the data and pushes to the DB. Okay, here I will implement using batching. Instead of pushing the data in real time, I will
Okay.
implement batching to push the data.
Okay. Nice. Yes. This I think is all that which is sufficient to understand. Great.
Yeah.
Good. You are exactly on time with all the stuff covered. Great. So yes, I'm done with all my queries.
The question you have?
No, sure.
I think earlier when you were explaining this, you were actually on the different diagram. So we had a confusion, I guess. That's why. It's great. Sure.
Okay. Okay, Satish. Thanks a lot.
Good. If nothing else, then we can close this presentation. Thanks a lot for Shivam and very nice
Thanks,
presentation.
Tarun. First, I have to thank you, Tarun, for providing the opportunity.
Great. Nice.
Thanks, Tarun. Thanks, Mahesh and Satish, for joining the call.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks, sure.
Great.
Thanks. Thanks.
Great. Yes. Perfect.
Thanks, Tarun.
Okay. See you. Bye.